Many Christmas nail art tutorials require special supplies and tools like rhinestones, nail striping tape, dotting tools, or special brushes. This is great if you have them and want to use them. If you don't, the following video will show you Christmas nail art that only requires nail polish and maybe some scissors, a pen, and tape. First up, we have the Snowman nail. As you can see, I used red for my background color, but you can choose whichever color you'd like. Next, I got out my white opaque nail polish, and I started with a half circle for the bottom half of the snowman that you can see. And then right above that, I made a slightly smaller full circle, and I made sure that both shapes connected slightly. In my opinion, if it looks a little lumpy, that's okay. I actually think it's kind of cute, and it makes it look a little bit more like a snowman, because let's be honest, snowmen in real life aren't perfect either. After that, make sure that you give it some time to dry a little bit before moving on to the next step. In the next step, I made his hat. I used a black opaque nail polish, and I made sure to take as much of the excess nail polish off the brush as possible. Then I slowly but surely made a thin line across the top of the head of the snowman. And then I went back and I got a little bit more nail polish, but made sure that it wasn't too much on the brush. And I made the top part of the hat. I just made a tall rectangle. Now comes the tricky part without a dotting tool, but is definitely possible, as you can see from this video. I took as much excess nail polish off of the brush, the same black nail polish, and I just really lightly put a dot for the eyes and the mouth. I did this really slowly and carefully, and it worked. You have to be very careful though, because you could accidentally make a dot that's too big if you don't take enough of the excess nail polish off, so just be careful. Lastly, we can't forget the little carrot nose. I took an opaque orange nail polish and tried to get as much nail polish off of the brush as I could, and then I just very carefully almost just dotted it on, and it came kind of as a little bit of a line. It's so small. Now you'll notice that the carrot kind of went into the eye, so I did go back with the black polish and just fixed up the eye a little bit, and then the snowman was complete. The next nail I'm going to show you I do actually every year around the holidays, and I always like how easy it is to do. All you need is some tape, some scissors, and your nail polish. The first thing you need to do is paint your nail white, and I typically also put a top coat on. Then you cut thin strips on your Scotch tape, and you place them how you want them on your nail with space in between. You can decide on how thin or thick each strip is. You can have them different thicknesses, you can have them all the same. It's kind of up to you. After that, you paint your nail with red, and then as quickly as you can, try to take the tape off. Some extra advice for you is when you put your top coat on, try to go the direction of the lines. This will prevent any potential red nail polish smearing into the white polish. Next, I'm going to show you how to make a snowflake, also using tape and scissors. First thing you need to do is to have a long strip of Scotch tape and put it on your nail. When you place it on your nail, make sure there's plenty of extra tape on the top and bottom. This will help you later. Next, you will draw lines that guide you on where you're going to cut the tape. You have two options for your design. You could draw 3 lines or 4. I'm going to suggest just drawing 3 because if you do 4, it gets difficult. Trust me, especially if you have shorter nails. If you do 3 lines, you would draw a vertical line and then basically an X. If you want to make a 4th line, you would just add a horizontal line through the center. This is one of the end products that it could look like if you used 3 lines. After that, you have to cut those lines, which apparently is very hard to catch on camera. Next, place the tape back on your nail. Make sure there's space between each of the pieces of tape. You can also make it have a point to it, so you can angle the tape so that there's almost like a point at the end of each of the lines. After that, use an opaque white to cover the nail. Then quickly take the tape off. After that, I added with that same white opaque nail polish 4 small angled lines on each of the sections of the snowflake. Of course, don't forget to add a top coat at the end. Here's some different versions of the snowflake. The one in the center has the extra line that's horizontal. Now I'm going to show you how to make a Christmas tree that only requires nail polish. I first started with the white nail polish. Then I used 2 different shades of green nail polish for my tree. Then I made 2 diagonal very small lines with one of the green nail polishes. It almost looks like an arrow pointing up. I waited for that to dry a little bit, and then I went with my other nail polish that's a different shade of green. I made the same shape below the original shape, but I made the lines just slightly longer. I continued this process, alternating the two colors until I had my tree. At this point, you could be done and just add a top coat. You could also add a tree trunk with a brown nail polish. You could also add a yellow dot for kind of like the topper of the tree and maybe some red ornaments, but it's up to you what your preference is. Here are some different results that I got depending on the technique that I used when I painted my trees. By the way, with any nail art, I oftentimes like to just do nail art on one accent nail and then have the rest of my nails something more simple. That might mean using some simple colors for the rest of the nails and maybe adding a little bit of glitter on top. The last nail is really easy. It's a polka dot look, but you could also say it looks like snow. I used a red polish for the base, but you could also use another color like blue or gold. Then I took excess nail polish off the brush of a white opaque polish and simply put dots on my nail. Those were my 5 easy Christmas nail art ideas. Happy holidays! And that's what Kay says.